first day for MVPs. Here we go, Ryan Pineda.
Estamos hablando de...
My full-time job. Is a little bit of an echo.
Me too.
Yeah, here. Let's switch to a regular mic. What am I the best at in my business? For him, it was sales. But what that person should do is that person should 3x your business in terms of forward, so they can focus on the 20% that's actually going to build their business. So like I mentioned, assessments, so that's the predictive index. Then skills assessment, like I mentioned, and then mobility assessment, which I haven't talked about yet. Essentially, what mobility is hey, what is your career path? Do you even want to grow? Like, what does your essential is how we keep them. So here are the keys to culture. That's a workhorse. You keep them, you maintain them, you let them keep grinding, and you give them low-level tasks, and they're going to keep crushing it for you. You know, and then on the other side is if they're a 1 in performance, but they're a 3 in potential, that's what we call an idle genius. So what that means is we have to make sure that we're setting expectations properly, we're helping them advance, we're putting them on performance plan if we need to. Our employees, so the way we hire everybody is we do for our COO or for our business unit leader, whoever that is, we give them a percentage of net revenue. So, and then we give them some sort of salary. One thing that I know a lot of people deal with too when they are starting a new business is like, dude, how do I afford $100,000 a year salary? You're not. You're really planning for the first 3 months. If they can't 3x their revenue or 3x their value in 3 months, then they're out, right? So you're not committing to the whole year, you're just committing to 3 months. But does that answer your question? Yes. I got you next. What's up, Chris?
How do you determine the percentage of net revenue from COOs?
I mean, you kind of work backwards, right? So it's like, all right, how much do we think the company's going to make in the next 3 months? How much do we, think the role is worth? First of all, too, right? Like how much? What's the market value? How do we incentivize people? And that might change, and you just got to set that expectation with them early on. Like, hey, look, I'm bringing you on. You're probably going to get a large chunk of the net in the beginning, and as we grow, as we scale, it's just not going to be feasible to continue at that percentage. So as long as you know that in the beginning, you set the expectation, then they're going to come on board, and you just got to incentivize them in other ways.
Okay.
All right,
Cool.
you're next.
At what point of your hiring process do you guys use the predictive index, and if you're gonna have the
Our students get the link. I'll get, if you Google like predictiveindex.com, you'll see like the whole thing. But the way when I send the predictive index out, it's right after the phone check. So I call them, we go through kind of like general basics, make sure that they're not crazy. And then from there, I'll say, hey, if it's in person, hey, I'm scheduling an interview with your respective manager or whoever, and then here's some more information about us, take this personality assessment, and then we'll talk from there. So that's when I do it.
You said y'all CEO Monty was running the offer.
Mm-hmm.
So is he like running just the whole process of controlling the contract or like the project management?
Everything. So to give you a 30-second version of like our org over at Home Run Offer, we have Monty, who's the COO. We have dispositions, which we're actually moving a girl, Kayla, into that role. Right now, Monty handles it. We have sales. We had a sales manager who's in there. And then we have marketing, which Monty handles. And then we have a TC, transaction coordinator, and a project manager who manages 2 other project managers. So Monty's at the top, handling everything. And then we have either he's overseeing it, or we have another manager, leader, who's managing, that process and other people.
So like, what if Monty wanted to do like a flip on his own? Is he allowed to do that?
Nope. So everything has to go through us, but we do wholesale to our employees. That's how Susie got a deal. We have another woman, you guys might have met with her, Mariella. That's how she's gotten deals. So our employees do get first right to the property. They have to match whatever the highest offer is, but no, if you're working for us, it's the same reason why I stopped wholesaling, because I'm working for Ryan and I work for a wholesale business. But okay, in the back.
On that, do you ever have a concern with your employees? Like, how do you evaluate, like, if they go start flipping, evaluate like issues?
Are you talking about like issues with like possibly taking what we teach and going on doing their own thing?
No, not necessarily, like you said that they're gonna, like, someone's gonna flip, your employee's gonna flip, right? So
Yep.
it's gonna take up their time, if that affects their position.
I
Just
mean,
like having
no,
reduced
I mean,
time.
the thing is, right, like if you're gonna go flip, like number one, it shouldn't take up all of your workday, but your job comes first. So if you are working here, you gotta understand that you, like, between the hours of 9 and 5, you're mine, right? And for some of our leaders, you know, that's weekends and other stuff too. But like, as long as your work performance doesn't drop, then, you know, it's no big deal. But all right, I got time for 2 more, and then I'll wrap them up, so.
What's your process of firing?
Ooh, okay, well, so, I mean, I've had to fire, you know, I've had to fire COOs, I've had to fire salespeople, because I started as a sales manager. We've gotten a lot more structured with how we do it now, so it used to be just, okay, you know, having a conversation and you're out. But as we've grown, you know, we have almost 100 employees now across all of our different businesses, right? So as we've grown, you know, it's written notice number 1, written notice number 2, you know, and in that we do a PIP, and we actually have a whole section on performance plans in our curriculum. And basically what we talk about, it's just like, hey, like, these are where you're not meeting expectations. These are where we need you to move into. And then from there, it's a timeline too. Is it 30 days? Is it 60 days, 90 days? We don't, I mean, for us, we move so quickly that it has to be 30 days. But those are the core of it is, this is why you're not meeting expectations. This is how you meet expectations. This is the timeline to meet expectations, otherwise you're out. Cool, in the back.
All right, so right now in my business, in the last year we drove about 300,000. I'm a solopreneur. And I'm about to hire that first person, but I know I'm really good at creative, hands-on development and building high trust relationships. What I need is sales and marketing. Should I go hire just sales and marketing, or should I hire a kind of CEO that wears multiple hats at the very beginning?
What we do is we hire the COO first in the best situation. Sometimes it doesn't always work out that way. Sometimes I need to step in as the COO of that company to like build it all out and then find a COO. But in the perfect world, what we do, like for example with Wealthy Investor, right? It was already a coaching business, but then Ryan brought in Brian Davila to now come in and run that entire business, so that way he can go focus on other things. So to answer your question, it depends on how big you want to scale, but ideally you're going to hire the COO first and then go hire your employees. Now the other side of it is if it's a lifestyle business and you're just like, dude, I just need a sales guy, right? And then you can just keep doing what you're doing. You know, you're doing $300K a year, great. Like, do you want to be a business owner? Do you want to be a leader? That's what you got to self-evaluate first. If you truly want to build into a business, then yeah, go find a COO, go do everything. But if you just want, you know, maybe make a little extra money, you know, scale up a little bit more, dude, no need to go make it a whole business, right? And that's something that like everybody needs to think about too. It goes back to the wealthy way. What business do you need to create to build your personal lifestyle, right? So that's it. Very last one, then I gotta get out of here.
All right, as far as social media wise, how important is it, and what's the process of you hiring someone to pick that role, whether it's recording, posting, reels, etc.?
Oh, that's so good, because I got our head producer, Justin Barry, who's the man behind all of Ryan's views. Since the very beginning, he's coming on next. So he's going to talk about building out that business, all that type of stuff. So, you know, you're a little ahead of the game. So, and if he doesn't get through it, come find me and we'll talk afterwards. But cool, guys. Thank you so much, and we'll talk soon.
I want to see the green dots. I'm hoping everything's in the green, right? But here's what's most important. 181,000 watch hours. Equivalent to 20 years. That's 28 days. You want watch hours because sharing of words equals oneness. The longer you spend with me, the better chance I have of converting you. Right? You all, anybody door knock still? I know there's some agents in here. All right? Because you never know who you're gonna meet here. For some reason, we always FaceTime people, but we never give people FaceTime at some point. All right? You look at a Joe Rogan, scratches out everything up there. Everything up there is scratched out. Best in the business, right? The best ones do this. So what are you gonna talk about? Some of you all think, be sure to add this to your content. All right, I'm up on time. I've probably been up on time. I ain't been watching that clock. But truthfully, I'm gonna do this for the first 3 people that decide that they want to be a part of it, because one thing about what we do is we connect things. So right now, if you're an all-star, you get creative. All right, so you get an opportunity. Speak up, I need to hear you.
Have you guys moved away from vlog style videos and now you're really prioritizing podcasts? Maybe because of the ease of editing?
Yeah, so I mean, when I say, I don't want to say completely moved away, right? Because as Ryan mentioned earlier, things constantly change. He can come in tomorrow and be like, all right, we're vlogging again, and we're right back to it. But one reason why we're changing, truthfully, is because of these numbers, right? What's working right now? What are the platforms rewarding? All right, and so yes, we're all in on podcasts and creating the best podcast that we can. So you'll still see vlogs, like you see his stories. You still get to know what he's doing day to day, right? And those stories, usually high quality, done well, right? Like we still do that. We took a trip to Iowa not too long ago, and I vlogged that trip just because it made sense for what company it was going to be kind of pushed to, right? And you can find that video on his YouTube, but the majority of our videos are our podcasts because we understand what's working. Let me say this let me say this too about the vlogging, all right? We're gone. The days of just holding up something and showing your life, it's not really impactful, especially if your goal doesn't match that. It makes sense for the couple that does it and really they just want to be famous, like that makes sense. But if your goal is to make money on your business, that doesn't make any sense. So if you do vlog, it should be with purpose. All right, like I said, we went to Iowa, we were looking at deals that he had got from Pineda Capital, looking for partnerships. All right, let's make this vlog about it. That made sense. Didn't make sense for me to show, right, like our golf trip. Doesn't do anything, it doesn't promote anything. So that didn't answer your question. Go ahead.
So I have another business that I've been in for 16 years, and it does well. So how do I transition over to this realm of real estate without impacting my other business until I get this off?
Yeah, so I get that question a lot. There are 2 different brands.
Yeah.
Are you the brand?
I'm the brand of the other one, photography.
So one's photography, one's you. You're the brand
real
though.
estate.
But you're the brand.
Yes.
Are both aspects part of your life?
Yes.
I don't see why you can't have both on one page. Ryan golfs, he played baseball, he couch flipped, he did real estate. Here's what's important to know though. You want to be known for something. So whichever one you want to be most known for, that ratio of what you put out should favor in that direction, right? So like, I love basketball, but I don't make basketball content, all right? I coach kids football, but I don't make kids football content, because I don't want to be known for that. That's not why I want you all to come to my page, all right? So when you have 2 things that you really want people to come to, you just got to be sure that they're either getting equal amount of attention or favor the one that you really want to be most known for. It's easier to grow when you're known for something. It's harder to grow when you're known for a bunch of different things, right? It doesn't make you feel like an expert at anything. So you want to focus on whatever it is that you want to be most known for, but because you're the brand, you can add elements of everything else too. We want to know about your life. That's what social media is. Everybody's getting confused. They're leaving off the word social and just doing media. But it's social media, so we want to know about your life. Like, we want to know what else you're interested in. Ryan bought a pickleball court and we made content on it. I don't know if he's ever played on it. But that's just, he's interested in it. So let's show people, all right? Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm a social media manager for my brothers. We have over 25,000 followers.
Awesome.
It's at the point where we go around college campuses and bars and we do interviews. So it's been working. I've been telling them we need to pivot. They're going off, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So how do I open their eyes to pivot to different directions, even though what's working is working?
What's your goal?
Our goal is to grow as large as possible, then bring other creators, majority minorities, black and brown people, to grow their brands as well, who also put themselves out there.
Okay, that was our goal. What's your goal?
What do you mean?
Is it the same?
Yeah, my goal is to get. We want to grow and bring other influencers, mostly minorities, on board so we can grow a team.
Is that their goal too?
It is not their goal.
I don't know how you can accomplish something as a team without one goal. Right? My team's goal is what Ryan's goal is. We're trying to grow the brand. We want to bring as many entrepreneurs in as possible and get them to live the wealthy way. That's our goal. Enriching communities, serving others. Right? You all got to get one goal, because I can tell by how you phrased it that you're on two different pages. You want to pivot because you have a goal that you're trying to go towards, and they like the views and everything else that comes with it. Because that kind of content is fun, right? Like, you never know when you interview people what someone's gonna say. And right now, that content does really well on social media, right? There's a guy that usually has helped us and consulted us for years, named Ryan McGinn. That's what he does. He's at every conference, just asking questions to people, looking for somebody interesting and just ask him a question because it's helping grow his page. I don't know how that converts. I don't know how doing the content that you're currently doing will convert to what your goal is. So what type of content does? And then it's up to you to get creative on how to mix those two too. You may have to do that, right? Same goes for the individual with two brands. How do I kind of mix the two together creatively, right, to achieve whatever goal we're trying to do? I want to talk some more to you two though. Go ahead, I'll take one more. All right, matter of fact, I'm gonna take this one and I'm gonna take whoever asked that question to Javi, if it wasn't already asked. Go ahead.
So you talk about having a clear strategy, but also putting out a lot of volume. If you were to choose, like, one to prioritize, would you say waiting to have a clear strategy, or just a perfect action, keep pumping out volume, make your strategy more clear?
It depends on where you're at in the journey. If you've been pumping out volume for a year now and still not seeing any results, you may just want to focus on strategy. If you are struggling to post, then let's just start getting something out. And as we're doing it, we'll make sure that the strategy fits what we're doing. But like I start with figuring out how you're going to, like, what is the goal? And what makes sense to that? And now it would keep you from making senseless videos and senseless content, right? Like, that's what it would do. But if you're struggling right now to just get something out, then we need to kind of lock in on how we can increase and improve that area. And then as you start to get it out, we'll start to see whatever the goal is, we'll start shifting towards that. Yeah. All right, who asked the question to Javi? Was it you?
Yes, sir.
You want to ask it one more time?
Well, you answered a lot of my questions
Okay.
just by your presentation. Thank
Yeah.
you very much. One question, the last question I would have related to that is, we see the numbers. We see what you guys as a team was able to accomplish. Now, for someone that is on your client's level,
Right.
and someone that's not, right? How much would it cost to get a team to produce those numbers?
Why do you need a team? I just told you we'll do it for you. Why you need a team?
Well, I'm speaking from me being a social media manager perspective.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's
And I
gonna
live in
vary.
Nashville, by the way.
It's gonna vary. It's gonna vary, right? Like, when you talk about hiring a team, and I did a presentation on this the last time, it varies. It's different based on, like, skill level, right? We all know we can go to a VA company and get some editors, right? How many people have VA editors? Yeah, whatever. But we can do that, right? And that's gonna, like, I understand it from the business sense of doing that. Like, you're gonna reserve, and save a lot of money, be very efficient, cost efficient. But when you're looking to hire actual individuals, there's a couple things to do. You can go one route where you look for kind of beginner level individuals and you're gonna help them kind of come up and train them. We've had that on our team. Individuals that have never been a part of something like this have come in with a different skill that we've been able to kind of groom into what we need. So that's probably your cheapest level when you're talking about hiring, a full team. Or you look for the expert that's gonna cost you, but get you directly to what you need, as far as what you want to produce. And so you got different ways of doing that. So it does cost. I know for Ryan, when I first started and he decided to go all in on content, he was spending $40K a month on the team. Right? He knew he was losing money. Right? Because the page hadn't quite grown yet, hadn't got a lot of action yet. He wasn't really making money on it. But he knew long term he was willing to invest, right? Long term to get the result that he wanted. And so, those numbers will vary. All right? I'm gonna go. Please come find me if you got any other questions. Thank you all.
I probably take everything, so.
And so this happens in business and in real estate. Me and everyone said we were going to do a podcast. And then I'm going to look at all you guys. I'm like, where'd the podcast go? It will happen. I'm just telling you. It's the experts. Thank you for the question / insult. Okay. What do you got?
So there was something you said this morning that stuck with me, and you mentioned there's a cap to any type of business, and where the original cap is when you sell a company. That made me think a little bit. What about if you were to be starting from scratch? Would you still start flipping houses instead of flipping businesses because you can 10x or 100x your initial investment?
Yeah, so I think if you currently don't have what I would call money making skills, right? You've never made $250,000 or $1 million, then I think real estate is the easiest way to start. I think it is an amazing starter business for anyone because, like I said, there's no requirements needed. If you were to try and go start a tech business, dude, that's really hard, okay? It actually requires, you gotta be super smart, you've gotta have a really good, unique idea, you've gotta learn how to market, build funnels, sell, there's so many things you gotta learn, okay? And I own some tech companies. So it's really hard. Real estate's not that hard, guys. I mean, I see some of our students, I love them, but they're not the brightest people, and they crush it, okay? Brian DeVilla said, I dropped out of high school in 9th grade. Look at him now, okay? He's the perfect example, okay? So if Brian DeVilla can do it, okay. Anyways, very successful. Now, but look, here's the thing. Even with Brian and myself, right? I'm a jock baseball player. I didn't learn any of this stuff. So look at us now. We're throwing these big events. We're doing different. We just got a tech component to our program. We have an AI software. We're now going into these things after the fact, years and years later, because we developed skills. We learned how to run a business. We learned how to hire people. All the stuff you learn today, it took us, a decade to learn. We can teach you it in a year, right? But it just takes time. So I think real estate's the best starter business, hands down. What you got?
Yeah, how do you balance building the personal brand, but also still building up a sellable company? So this is a big question people have. They're like, well, if everything's based around your personal brand, then the asset isn't sellable with the company. That's basically what you're getting at. So every company has a personal brand, whether you realize it or not, okay? Tesla, Elon Musk is very much associated with Tesla. In fact, it was Elon in those early stages that if he didn't throw everything he had at it on his personal brand side, his financial side, everything, it wouldn't have got to where it got, right? And so, is Tesla valuable and great on its own today? For sure. It doesn't need Elon. If Elon left, though, the stock price for sure would tank, okay? So it's still very much associated with his brand, even though it doesn't necessarily need him as much today. But there was no way it would have ever got to that point without it. So you never even are talking about this issue, right? When you look at even these companies, these big companies, the reason there are endorsement deals is because companies like Nike need a personal brand. Anybody watch that Jordan documentary, Air? That was such a good documentary. And, or whatever it was. And he, Nike was about to go bankrupt, essentially. And it was what did they do? They needed a face. So they give Jordan equity, and then boom, they kill it. And then they see LeBron and all these other guys. They're just getting personal brands behind the brand. So
That's every industry, it's every business. And we're now going into an age today where it's just gonna become way more common, right? Like a personal brand didn't matter for a laundromat, but it's gonna matter for pretty much everything else one way or another. You're either gonna be the brand or you're gonna pay somebody to be the brand. One of those two will happen for marketing. Now, the way you make it sellable is it's not totally reliant on your personal brand. So you're able to still run this thing without your face. For example, this isn't even like a goal of mine, but if I wanted to, I could start doing this a little bit differently. But like WealthCon, events, like the event business is huge of selling an actual event. I forgot what like Comic-Con and these other like, what is it, SEMA, the auto one, like those are worth a lot of money, probably 9 figures plus. Like there's no like face attached to it. It's just like, dude, this is the premier car event. This is the premier, comic book event. If I really wanted to, I could try and make WealthCon like that, and we throw events and everything else, and then I could step away where it's just like, yeah, dude, I know when I come to WealthCon, this is what to expect and everything else, and I could try to sell the event, for sure. And then instead of like selling my own stuff at the event, you could then bring in other companies to sell different things, and like that's part of the event experience, and that's how the business has value. So there's a lot of things you can build up with your personal brand, and then kind of reorganize it so that it does become sellable.
How long have you been building your team, and why do you think your team follows you?
So he said, how long have I been following my team, and why do they follow me? Or how long have I been building it, and why do they follow me? So like many of you, I started out as a solopreneur. I really didn't start building a team until 3-4 years later, because I just didn't know any better. And 2018 was the first year I got an office, and what I would say, I went legit. And from there, dude, I literally had no idea how to do any of the things they just told you, okay? This is what our first office meeting looked like. I rented an office, I had no employees, and I posted on Facebook, because that was all I had, and I said, hey, we got a new real estate office. If you're looking for a job, show up at 9 a.m. You think I'm kidding, that's what I did. And I said, show up at 9 a.m. I get to work, there's like 8 dudes there, okay? I'm like, you're all hired. Here's the pay, okay? That's what happened. And I go, you guys are cold calling, let's hit the phones. And dude, I had no systems or anything. I said, here's a sheet of phone numbers. You have a cell phone, start dialing. That was what we did. It was so stupid in hindsight. And we didn't have an auto dialer. We didn't know about TCPA. We were making like freaking 100 dials a day when we could have been doing that a minute. It was crazy. So my point is, I started just like doing it so wrong, yet we still figured it out over time, just out of like relentless pursuit. Then I realized, dude, I freaking need coaching. So I got coaching and all these other things. And I was like, oh my gosh, why have I been doing it this way? That was so dumb. Like I wasted so much time and money, and then we figured it out. Today, why do they follow? Well, one of the things we're gonna do at the event is we're actually for the first time gonna have a recruiting booth, because now, we're getting to the point where recruiting is like such a big part of what we do for all the companies. Like we constantly need new talent, coming through the door, because we're building new companies, we're trying to scale companies, we're acquiring companies. And so if I can be like a recruiting funnel for all the companies, then it really is a win-win, because people will already know my values from social media. People will know, like already believe in the company. Because think about recruiting. If most people are trying to recruit, they make a LinkedIn ad or whatever, right? And people apply, they don't know really anything about the company. And so what happens is the company has to sell themselves to the employee or the potential candidate, right? They gotta like offer them all these things because they don't have any kind of like presence or brand awareness. It don't work like that for us. Like I'll go recruit probably 50 people tomorrow at the event who are ready to roll right now, because they actually paid me to be here. It's a very different thing when they're paying you to be here, because they're already bought in. They literally paid you. So imagine when you try to hire those people They're already bought in, you know, and that's why like all of them. Brian Davila was our first student ever. Javi was a student in the All-Star program. Ivan was a student too. He paid me to golf. That was how we met, right? Those are the best people for me to recruit because like they've literally shown me they're committed. It doesn't, you can't get a better person more bought in than that. They've literally paid you. They're literally bought in.
Do you feel like a coach needs to have any insight into your business or industry or you be like a general coach? Like we're very specific, we do like high-rise construction, like big commercial projects, and it's very specific in like our consulting. So I was trying to get into coaching, but they're just like general business coaches and a lot of people are like, they're not in that niche.
Yeah. Well, I think you can do both. Like I've hired what I would call a generalist and a specialist, right? So like we'll hire a specialist to learn a very unique skill, okay? So like I would hire you if I wanted to learn high-rise construction. I'd be like, dude, like you're killing it? Okay, cool. Like you got a diamond ticket, dude. You paid 10 to 15 grand to be here. Like to me, by the way, one of the reasons why we do like high ticket things is because I know that the ballers will like show themselves and I want to make sure I talk to them and get to know what they do because there's definitely opportunity. But that's a whole nother side note of everything, okay? But with the high-rise construction, it's like, yeah, I'm sure you already know other high-rise developers and like you can go pick their brains, right? And so you'll be able to learn whatever you can learn from them. But what I will say with the generalist is you're going to get different perspectives in the industry. One reason why I feel like we have an advantage over a lot of people is because I don't just think from the perspective of a real estate investor. You know, most real estate people only think about, you know, in things you've been taught in real estate. It's a very limited skill set. The same thing is true of people who only know, you know, development or people who only know making content. But if you can like learn a lot of different skills and bridge them together and then take bits and pieces from everything, you can come up with a creative solution that no one else could see because they just don't have the experience. So for me, when I think of like all these creative things I've done over the years, I think back to all my experience to this point. I'm like, man, I remember what it was like when I was playing pro sports. Oh, I remember what it was like when I was trying to make content. Oh, I remember what that was like when I was flipping those houses. I remember what that was like when I was raising all that capital to buy those apartment buildings. When we were doing our NFT project, or when we were doing this, or the tax firm, or like, when you've built so many things, it becomes easy to start just drawing parallels to situations. It kind of becomes like deja vu.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I've also done a lot of different ventures. They all kind of, they correlate, but I think like one thing that kind of hit me the most was the brand awareness and the personal brand, because that kind of really creates a funnel of all the different developers. Like right now, New York, Florida, really big, but there's such a broader market to get people in.
Who's got his name on more high rises than anyone? There you go. Everyone knew it. And he's been doing it before it was a thing. He's been doing it for like 40 years. And then he rose his name on buildings to being the president. Like think about that. Like he started off in a niche, like we're talking about in real estate. And I don't know his full story, but he's probably flipping some properties, doing some things. He moved up to development and he moved up to being the president. Like, you know, but he actually did the path that I'm on. Not that I want to be the president, maybe one day, who knows. But I like Vegas too much. If I could be the president in Vegas, that'd be good. So, but you know, he followed the path of he became great at real estate. He used that into media. And then he used media to do whatever the heck else he wanted to do. Because once you have attention, you can pretty much do anything. Attention plus skill, which he had.
So I have a question related more to real estate. Alberti and I, we run a small real estate team in New Jersey. We have about, with us is like 9 people in the office. But the problem that we're having is that we have been trying to grow the team and do a lot more volume. We do between 30 to 40 deals a year. And one of the issues that we're having with our team is that everybody in there is family. His brother-in-law, my brother-in-law, and we're getting into.
It's good and bad, but go on.
Yeah. So, like at the office, it gets the environment. It's not good sometimes. We're also brokers, you know, we're realtors, so everything, we don't have a structure, and the few guys that we have, you know, they're on commission too. And we generate 70% of the business, the other 30 or 40% that comes in, you know, it's like, it's not consistent, there's no structure, and we're also, you know, representing clients during the sale. We might lend some private money to some of the guys, we do some, you know, foreclosures, distressed properties. So like, we're all over the place, and it's like, you know, we're working 18 hours a day, us too. So I'm telling Barry, the way that I'm looking at it, like, listen, we gotta lay off everybody and start hiring people on, you know, on W-2s that maybe we can manage in structures, and that we have been working on lately. And you know, which I kind of get it. Barry's like, listen, let's try to fix these guys. Maybe, you know, we can work with them. They already know the system. I just, you know, we don't know that they have the discipline to do where we need to go. And also, like, we have some of our realtors in the office, you know, that they're realtors, and we're also kind of giving them leads to generate the properties that we want to buy. So they're like all over the place. There's no consistency, you know, on the business. And
I mean, you know, it's easy, I guess, to blame them, but I mean, you already. I mean, yeah, no, I mean, like, but I'm just listening to you, and I'm like, okay, he's running with his head cut off. Why are they running with their heads cut off? I don't know. Okay, so here's the deal. Okay, and I give him a round of applause for sharing that. Okay? So, whenever you're having a problem in business, the hardest thing is to diagnose what's the exact problem. That's exactly what you just said, okay? So, and we go through this too. So the thing you want to eliminate is the variables. And you want to figure out what are the fixed problems that we can say, yes, this for sure is either good or it's a problem. Now, this is a big issue between sales and marketing all the time. Because what happens is you spend all this money on marketing, they don't convert, and nobody knows who's the problem. Because the sales team will tell you the leads suck, the marketing will tell you the sales team sucks, but the owner, me, will tell you everyone sucks because I'm losing all the money, okay? So you have to decide what is the actual problem. Now, if you're gonna diagnose the problem, you gotta start figuring out what are some fixed things that you could say 100% certainty, these are good, okay? So the first thing was, do I believe in my hiring process? So Javi just talked about that. So what you just said was, well, yeah, we freaking hired my in-law and whoever, you know, who had a pulse and similar blood to me, and they're good. And, oh yeah, and by the way, they don't generate any revenue. Like, I have to give them all the revenue. They sound great. So, okay. So is your hiring process dialed in or not? Okay? No, he's like, no, dude, no. So, the same things Javi was just talking about. Core values, predictive index, personality tests, comp plans, all those things need to be dialed in. So, can this be like good for a minute and then like over time you gotta adjust it? For sure. But I can tell you for us, we're like, all right, our hiring process is pretty good. Like, I'm not gonna assume I hired the wrong people, okay? So, all right, if I know that I've kind of got the right people here, what becomes the next issue? All right, well, the first thing would be, let's just talk about marketing, because that's where, you know, all the leads and everything get generated from. What I would look at with marketing is I would say, okay, and I was just having this meeting, I go, what are our standard KPIs? Key performance indicators, like what are our standards we're willing to accept? Okay, if I'm gonna go spend $10,000 on this marketing channel, what is the minimum return I better get, okay? If I say it's a 4X or whatever the case is, let it be that. Now, you can go way deep, and we do it in coaching, I don't have all the time today. But like, you could go way deep beyond that and say, okay, in order to achieve a 4X, what's this look like? What's my cost per lead gotta be? How many leads we gotta generate per day? If we generate that many leads per day, how many sales reps do we need? How talented do the sales reps need to be? What's the sales system? Setters, closers, can everyone close? Are we going on appointments? There's a lot of things to start. This is why I say business is confusing, okay? There's so many variables that come into play on whether or not why something's not working, okay? So we go with marketing, and all of a sudden, the first thing I guess we can say is, are we getting leads? Okay, if it's getting no leads, then you already know the marketing's jacked up, okay? So you're like, all right, well, we're not generating enough leads. Okay? Now, let's assume we are generating enough leads, and so now it goes into sales. So now you're like, okay, we're generating enough leads. What's the problem here? Why aren't we getting this 4x that we're talking about? Well, okay, a few things could happen. It is true that, the lead quality might not be what you need it to be. That is possible. That's rarely true, though, because if you're generating leads, it's usually not the case, okay? 2, okay, is it a sales problem? Why is it a sales problem? Well, there's lots of reasons the sales could not be working, okay? There could be people, right? They're just not very good. That's one reason. There could be process. Something is happening in the process that is not making it convert. There could be, a product issue. What they're trying to sell actually isn't that great, and so therefore they cannot sell it. Okay? I should just give you a 4th P. I'm gonna just come up with this out of the blue. People, process, product, and those are really it. I mean, at the end of the day, that's it. Okay? There's nothing else to say about it. Okay? And with process, this is very all-encompassing because this would be your script. This would be your follow-up. This could be tech. We actually just had a huge problem with tech that I think is going to solve our issue. And I've been trying to isolate what our issue is because our KPIs aren't where I want them to be. Okay? And I'm like, okay, we have salespeople who have sold a bunch before. You guys have seen me online, right? Okay, I know our marketing's pretty good. So I don't think that's the issue either. So where's the disconnect? Something is happening right here that is causing us to lose money. Where's it at? And so for me, I looked through everything and I said, no, I think the scripts are fine. We actually just added a new product that I think solves a lot of downsell issues, okay? I think the people are fine. So I think there's a process problem. And what I looked at was, I think there's a tech issue. There's something happening tech-wise that's screwing up a lot of sales, okay? We have issues with booking on the calendar. We have issues with automated follow-ups. We have issues with, people not being on the same system for how they need to see their leads and how they should label leads. These are all tech things, okay? And that's where I think our problem is. Now, here's what's gonna happen. And my sales team's back there, so they can know exactly how this is gonna play out. So, this is just reality, guys. So, what's gonna happen is, I'm gonna fix the tech, and hopefully, this goes to what I need it to be. If that happens, then I know it was a tech issue. What happens if that doesn't happen? Well, I know it's not a product issue. We've sold millions and millions of dollars of product. We fixed the process and everything we can figure out, tech-wise, script-wise, follow-up-wise. I know that's not the issue. That leaves a people issue. Because if the marketing job is still doing their thing, they're getting the right amount of leads, they're getting all these things, then it can only be a people issue, okay? And that's every business, guys. It's not just the sales team. Because at the end of the day, right, as you just make your way down the chain, it starts becoming a different part of the organization's problem, right? Because we wouldn't even be talking about this with the sales team if we had no leads, okay? If we had no leads or anything, then we have a massive marketing issue. Whoever's in charge of marketing isn't figuring out the right way to advertise. They're not figuring out how to get our cost per lead down. They're not figuring out how to build our brand, get content out there. That's step number 1, okay? But we know that that's not the problem. You guys all ended up here, all right? So then it becomes, all right, cool. Well, I think it's a tech issue, okay? Because I do believe in everyone back there. So I I think the tech issue solves a lot of the problems, okay? And I also think that there's a process issue we had with, I don't even know how you would say this, but just like, it's kind of just total process of like, we were doing things setter, closer, but I think that with everybody just selling, it's gonna cause some different things to happen. So I don't wanna get too in the nitty gritty of that. Okay, but now let's just say we're getting a lot of sales, okay? And our numbers are where we want it. So the next thing becomes ops, okay? Now let's relate this to a house flipping business, okay? Your marketing team did a great job, they got your leads. Your sales team did a great job, they closed the leads. The next thing that happens is, okay, crap, we just bought all these properties, okay? What happens if they don't get fixed up? What happens if they don't sell? What happens if they sit on the market, okay? Now you gotta isolate why you're not selling them as quickly as you thought you would. Because if you predict that, hey, I'm gonna sell this property in 6 months, and you've had it for a year, okay, there's a problem. What's the problem? I mean, dude, you could diagnose ops in a lot of ways, right? You could say, well, we have a problem with our realtor. You know, we have a problem with our contractor. How many of you ever had a contractor take too long? Okay, good. That one's pretty easy to diagnose. Okay. You know, we could have a problem with, you know, our rehab budget. Like, we just mismanaged what we thought it would cost and timeline it would take. How many of you guys have ever screwed up your rehab budget? Right? That's on us. That's not the contractor. That's on us. You know, how many of you guys realized you either over-improved the property or under-improved the property? Okay? Like, that happens too. How many of you realize maybe you mispriced the property? You asked too much and it's sat. Okay? These are all things that are in your control, by the way. There are also things outside of your control that you could not have predicted, right? Interest rates, right? The market shifted. It is what it is. I mean, when you think about the cash conversion cycle of a house flip, we're talking, you put it under contract, you close on it, let's just say a month later, and if you were planning on 6 months, I mean, that's a 7 months time frame for how long it takes to sell it if all things remain the same. Guess what? A lot changed in 6 months. So, you know, that's pretty much out of your control. Like, you couldn't predict they were going to do what they did, but it is what it is. All you can do is make better decisions every month thereafter as you get more data on the situation. And so marketing could have did their job, sales could have did their job, ops could have even did your job, and then you got screwed by something out of your control. That's life. Welcome to business, okay? If you're on social media, the algorithm could shadow ban you. You could get canceled, okay? If you're in some kind of industry, you could get disrupted by ChatGPT or AI or whatever, and your business is no longer available. All those things can happen. So my point with all this is, what I'm sharing with you is how to build a business, period. This applies to wholesale, content, development, real estate. I don't really care what you do. It's all the same stuff. And you have to learn how to diagnose where the problem is in the business, because if you can, then it can keep moving downstream. Because what happens is, if ops are doing what they're supposed to do, and everything played out the way you thought, you make money. That's what happens. You know logistically how much has to go into throwing one of these events every quarter? A lot, okay? We have to market like crazy, do everything. Sales has to sell like crazy, you know, get tickets, all this stuff. Then ops has to put on a great event, get the sales that we need, convert, and then do it all over again. Like, that's what running a business is, guys, okay? Now, it can sound hard, it can sound crazy, it can sound risky, but here's the thing. All those are true. I don't know what else to tell you, okay? That's life. But you can limit your risk when you know all of these different things. You can enhance your sales and profitability if you know all of these things. You can not have to go through the headache of trying to learn this over the years if you have somebody already telling you how to do it, right? Who can help you diagnose where your problem actually is. Because most people wouldn't even realize there's so many little things. Like, you could be one bottleneck away from like breaking out. You could be doing one little thing wrong from breaking out. You know, I actually had this conversation with somebody upstairs on Pineda Media. And I was like, honestly, guys, we're super inefficient in what we are doing right now. People aren't using their time the right way. And, you know, she kind of got offended. She's like, we're working like 12 hours a day doing this and that. I go, that's not what I said. I didn't say that you weren't working hard. I didn't say that you weren't trying hard. I didn't say anyone here's a bad person. All I said was, we're doing it the wrong way, work-wise. Like, there's a better what I'm trying to say is, the people are fine, the product is fine. There's a better process that shouldn't take you 12 hours a day. There's a way to do this to take 6. We just have to strategically think, how do we change the process to make that happen? You know, when Justin Berry talked about content, right? When he said, yeah, Ryan will film one podcast and he'll go get, you know, all these reels out of it. That's a process shift. What would have taken me 10 hours now takes me 1 or 2, okay? It's not like my work ethic didn't change. I just got smarter in my process. So if I took all of your guys' work ethic and I gave you better systems and processes, how much more could you output? Without even working any harder. Like, it's just simply doing different things. And that's what I said at the very beginning. What makes Amazon or Tesla or any of these guys different than us? They got the same 24 hours we got. Why did they build something so much bigger? They just take different actions every single hour than what we do.
Can I give him a better answer?
Okay.
One thing he said that I was kind of in the exact same position last year in this position, and Ryan harped on me about it, and thank God it gave me his time. But you have shiny opportunity syndrome, and that's your problem. You're investing your time in all these different areas, and each one of the opportunities that you talked about, loaning and wholesaling and all these things you're doing, each one of those have all those 20 things on the board that are different. So you really gotta scale in and figure out, niche in and figure out what you wanna do first, because it sounds like your people don't have a direction, they don't know what the end goal is, you don't have a process, you have 10 freaking different products. You know, in order to get that right, you gotta get to one thing.
100%. And what did Brian Davila say right when he first came up? He was like, you guys all want to do Airbnb and buy a rental and flip and wholesale. He's like, it ain't gonna happen. You gotta like pick one. Yeah.
I actually want to add to that because it's funny. So we've been partnering for a while, and we're getting to know it's actually very opposite. Which I think is one of the reasons I've been able to do so well. So our business, it kind of looks good from outside because it's like, okay, we're producing despite having all these issues, but then you know a lot of our issues are internally. Like he's a hustler, right? Like he's been killing it ever since he started. I'm more on the analytical side. So I think adding to what he said, you know, something that I've been adding, like from his point of view, he said, I was like, we need to get more deals, we need to keep producing 5 new channels. I kind of see it as like, we need to get good at what I want, we need to systemize it because in my opinion, that's what's scalable. Like, you know, you can't scale one person, but you can scale system. If we can teach what he does to other people, we can kind of take it to the other level. So it's kind of where I've been focusing, and I guess that would be my question to you. Do you think, from your opinion, hustling business or improving our system would be more productive to us? Which one out of the two, in your opinion, you think we should focus on?
So let me tell you, every business goes through what I call, you're going after the long term and the short term. So when you're first starting out, everybody's in the short term because you're just what you're saying, you have to hustle. For one, you don't even have systems because you're not doing anything. So you gotta like hustle and make money and, you know, just create your own new problems, essentially. And so you're pretty much all short-term thinking, just how do I get the next dollar? How do I get the next deal? And that's perfectly cool, okay? At some point, when you wanna scale, you gotta start transitioning to doing more long-term stuff, building a system, getting in coaching, creating social media content. These things don't pay off today. They actually cost you money today. Getting coaching costs money. Getting a system costs money. Buying tech costs money. Hiring somebody costs money. Okay? So the long term, creating content costs a lot of money and time. So when you go towards the long term, what happens is you actually lose money initially, and then you're like, look, at some point though, it's gonna start paying off extreme. Most people never make this shift because they don't like seeing themselves, in their mind, lose money. When in turn, they should be looking at this as an investment. Whenever you start putting dollars towards your long term, that's actually an investment. Okay? The reason you buy rental properties ain't because it makes you money today, right? Anyone own rental properties? Do they like make you all this money? Are you freaking rich because of your cash flow? No, you're not, okay? So why do you buy rentals though? For the long term, you know? You know that in the long term, it's gonna pay off big, okay? So at some point, you gotta start sacrificing dollars that you're making over here to start going towards the long term. That's why I say you invest in people, education, tech, all these things that just take time, all right? So for you guys, you're asking me, essentially, are you guys ready to go start investing dollars towards the long term? And I would say, yeah, if you guys are doing 30, 40 deals a year, there's no reason you shouldn't be already, because guess what? If you don't, you know what will happen? You'll just keep doing 30, 40 deals a year. You've already capped. You will not improve, okay? And in fact, you'll probably get worse because you'll get bored of it, you'll get tired of it, you'll get fed up. All those things will happen. So you got to start investing long term at some point. And so that's up to you guys. For me, when I look at what I do on a day-to-day basis, I spend a lot of my time mainly in the long term. It's like when I start making videos, it's like that's all long-term brand building, okay? When I do business meetings with potential deals and partners and stuff, that's all long-term stuff. Those partnerships don't make me money today. If I'm gonna go get in a partnership with somebody or build a business or buy, it's not gonna make me money today. It will though in the long run, okay? If I go buy rental properties, they're not gonna make me money today. Long run, for sure. And then I'll do short-term things that will make me money today, right? Throwing events, it makes you money today. Whatever the event makes, okay? When I go and close a big deal, that can make me money today. When I go and speak on stage at somebody else's and they pay me, that's a short-term thing, right? Now there are elements of long-term to it, in that you're building your brand, you're raising capital, you're gonna do all these things, but I would just call short-term thinking as anything that you need to do in the day-to-day business for it to function. So if you were to leave, and if the business were to die or lose money, that's you taking from the short term because you're trying to go build towards the long term. And some people can't afford to do that. At the end of the day, right? If you're just getting started, you're usually all short term, okay? Now here's the thing. There's always this balancing act of, at what point do you start putting dollars towards the long term? Because you'll never feel comfortable, all right? Most realtors never do it. That's why they remain solo realtors their whole life. They never take the sacrifice to build a team or spend money on marketing or get coaching or whatever, because they're completely fine just trying to run their referral business until they're 70 years old, okay? That's what realtors do. So, you're never gonna feel comfortable actually buying towards your long term, but you just have to do it. There's just no other way. Because even too, if you were to just think about it, in the short term of it, what if you were to invest in some of these things? We're talking tech, we're talking education, we're talking people, and you knew you were getting the right ones because you had the right education, you had the right tech, and because of that, you're able to hire the right people now, not your in-laws, right? You do that, how much more will you make in the short term? It's gonna hurt today. You're gonna give up all this money today. But how quickly will you make it back is the question. I would think you'd make it back pretty quick, especially in our business of flipping and wholesaling. It's all you gotta do is get 1 or 2 deals and you've already made all that back today. It's not hard to do. In other businesses, it could take longer, but in the real estate biz, you can make money quick. I got time for one more question.
The social media stats that were shown for the customers, did that come from CRM?
I didn't see the slide that he had. Yeah.
Basically, the thing that doesn't show in my CRM is the hours of video watched.
Watch time?
Watch time, I don't know.
It's on YouTube.
Oh, that was just the YouTube stat?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought it was compiling all the.
Oh no, I don't know what they all are. That was just YouTube. But yeah, like last month, you know, I've been telling people like we're going all in on podcasts for the last like 6 months, and you know, I think we had 100% increase quarter over quarter, which is massive. So I mean, I think he said it like, think about 20 years straight, people watching content in 30 days. So you start thinking about scale and long-term stuff. Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah, that's just YouTube. Okay, so that's 400. So that would have been the quarter. So like you see the graph, you know, it started at, let's just say 3,000 hours a day. And then now, this last month, I mean, you got this in the way, but you know, we're at over like 7,000 hours a day. So it's doubled. And yeah, you can see 141% more. So somebody do the math. What is 400,000 hours in 90 days? I don't even know. It's a lot. I think it's like, that's like almost 40 or 50 years. So when you just start thinking about technology and how you scale, it's like having the right process and technology allows you to scale. Because pretty much everyone here was probably taught, hey, go meet people in person and do that stuff. It's great. You guys are here and you're gonna go meet people kind of at scale, right? Let's say you make 10 good connections here. That'd be amazing. I'm making 50 years of connection the last 90 days. That's nuts. So social media is like super important. But guess what? It took me 3.5 years to do that. Okay? I mean, it didn't happen overnight. I've spent millions of dollars learning how to do this. Like on people, coaching, tech, processes, editing. You know, like you got to pay to play if you want to actually, you know, do big things. Anyone else? Yep.
What metrics are you tracking on all your companies to keep a pulse on what's going on in your businesses?
Yeah, I'm actually getting better at that. I mean, obviously you can look at the end result of what happened, so you can look at your P&Ls and all that stuff. But the problem with looking at P&Ls is it's just telling you after the fact, well after what happened. And so we need to get a better job at catching things way before they happen. And so it goes back to the things I was sharing earlier of, hey, you know, our cost per lead went up significantly this week. Let's figure out why. Let's figure out what happened there. Hey, cost per lead was good. Sales team didn't convert this week. Why? Let's figure out what happened. Because there's things to fix. Because, I mean, here's the thing, right? It goes back to what I was just doing earlier with Pat. It's like people are people. Like very few people are robotic and just like are consistent machines that just crush it every day. People got personal lives, they got family problems, they get tired, they, you know, get discouraged, or they might be on a heater and they're just crushing it. Like people are people. And so guess what? Part of being a great leader is getting the most out of your people. So you could have the perfect process, the perfect everything, but how good are you at getting the most out of your people? You know, that's why like the best sports coaches is like, man, dude, like he got so much out of that player. That guy never was as good on any other team than that team. Is because they knew how to utilize that person better and how to like motivate them and keep them going. It's like very few are self-motivated. And even the self-motivated people, like myself, still need to be pushed to like the next level. Because like I'll have a certain level of like, dude, like this is me. Nobody even needs to tell me and I'll just get to this level. But guess what? You got to figure out whoever's coaching me, what will inspire me to get to the next level? What makes me tick? Because it might be just straight competition with somebody else. Like I'm like, all right, dude, freaking let's go. That might need to be it. Or it might need to be, this ain't it, so don't even, it won't matter. But some people like need encouragement. Ryan, you're doing great, dude. Just freaking make it happen. That ain't me. I don't need that, okay? Or I need somebody to tell me I suck, and then I'll be like, okay, let's go. okay? Or somebody to just kind of call me out and they're like, yeah, you did pretty good, but last month you did better. I'm like, dang, you're right. And then I'll just go nuts. So you got to figure out, everybody's motivated differently. Some people need private encouragement. Some people need public encouragement. Somebody need to be kicked. Somebody needs to, there's just different ways to motivate people. And so it's a manager's job to figure that out. Make sense? Cool. So as we wrap up here, a few things, okay? Number one, we're going to have lunch and networking here for about the next hour. We just got to have everyone out of here by 3 o'clock. So even before that, we're going to have our next group coming in at 3 for our Tykes NFT holders. So if any of you guys are an NFT holder, you can stay here till 3. Or, you can be here at 3 as well. We got the event tonight with, the welcome party. And so the welcome party is going to be super fun. It's going to be at the M Casino. How many of you guys are staying at the M? All right, awesome. So, it's going to be at the M. Those are always super fun. You're going to meet a ton of our all-star students. Actually, who's in our coaching program right now, just so I know? All right, awesome. Already a lot of you. So, yeah, it's going to be great. And then, we have the main event Wednesday and Thursday. And we're actually doing a new thing this event where we're having our all-star mastermind on Friday. So that's going to be not similar to this, but same time from 9 to 1. And we're going to be bringing in some different speakers for our all-star students. So that's our highest caliber program. Now, I just know from MVP Day, you guys are the highest caliber people at the event. You guys have paid the most money to be here and everything. So I already know a bunch of you guys will end up joining. So I'm just going to tell you what it is real quick, because some of you guys are probably going to want to change your flights to go attend that day. Is that cool? Cool. So I don't know if you guys can just put this up. I'll put it up really quick. Our All-Star program, which many of them are in, have the 3 pillars that we just talked. Can somebody take this board? They have the 3 pillars that we talked about with Brian. So tools and resource-wise, you get all of our SOPs. So for my guys over here who had a faulty process, you'll get all that. You get all of our templates, scripts, and then we have a new software that we developed called our Wealthy Deals AI software that helps us find sellers who have the highest motivation to sell. So it'll take into account their, liens on the property, equity, how many, just different types of motivation they have, and it'll give it a score from 1 to 1,000. So you get that. You also get access to WealthCon. So every All-Star gets 2 VIP tickets to WealthCon. You get our directory to the Wealthy Investor Network. You get access to our entire Wealthy Investor team. So guys like Javi and everyone else help our students out. Brian is an accountability coach for our students. If you want to work directly with the team, that's how you do it. Also, too, we just released our new partner program where literally my team at Home Run Offer, which is upstairs, will close your deals for you. So one of the hardest parts for new investors is closing, especially with things that Brian was talking about on all the different exit strategies with novations and all this stuff. It's hard to learn over time. Many of you are leaving money, especially if you guys are already doing 30 to 40, you're probably leaving 30 to 40 deals on the table, just not knowing how to do that. So for us, my main strategy going forward in 2024 is just to JV and do a ton of deals with all of our students. And so we're just going to partner directly with deals and all that. We have literally 15 different coaching calls per week, okay? So this includes everything from all the real estate calls to flipping, wholesaling, multifamily, novations, creative finance, to our Wealthy Creator program where you have 3 calls on social media with Justin, myself, everyone. Then we have Wealthy Business, which is what we just talked about with business coaching. So all those things I was saying about what could be problems and bottlenecks, we do 2 calls a week with my business coach's company, Gary Harper. So he's speaking on stage. So we partnered up on that. So everything, if you want to learn with business, Ivan, who you guys met, we have the Airbnb program with ProHost, and then we got our rookie program that you get access to for doing your first deals and everything else. You get your own personal success coach, our course library, all that stuff. So that program is our top tier program. It's what most people join at the event. We also have the All-Star Mastermind on Friday. So many of you are probably already staying Thursday night. You might have to like move your flight back a little bit, but you could definitely come to the Mastermind Friday. Just gotta let us know. And the cost of that program is 30 grand in year one. It includes a partner, a spouse, whoever you want. And then after year one, it only becomes $1,000 a month. So lots of our students renew every year because, at $1,000 a month, you go to a couple of WealthCons, you already got it, right? And we're constantly adding new things to the program with like things like this mastermind. We didn't used to do this, but we want to keep giving more value to our all-stars. So they're going to be back here Friday for that, okay? So would love for any of you guys to join. What we're going to do is after this, because we have about an hour, for those interested, we're actually just going to go talk to you back here in my studio and answer any questions, because I'm just going over this really quick. So I'm sure a bunch of you guys got questions. But when we break, we'll just go back here, answer questions. If you want to sign up, cool. And we got other perks too that we're going to talk about at the event that you guys will get. But take pictures and all that stuff. And then for everyone else, we're going to have lunch back there. And so we'll break for lunch, we'll network, we'll hang out. I'm going to mingle too. But that's pretty much it, guys. Did you guys get value today? Yeah. Awesome. Cool. So I appreciate you guys. Let's have some fun for the next hour. For everyone interested in All-Star, you can meet me back here, and we'll take care of you. Thank you.
Is that Casey you see him? How you doing? Yeah. Good. I think they're on. I'm sitting in my seat right now. Right in the front.
What's up, bro?
Oh, sure. Again.
These guys.
Joyce, this is Kate. I met Kate in the WealthCon in July. She's a wealth of knowledge, and she really has portion in terms of, social media and doing videos. So, Kate, tell us about what we can expect, or what is different from this WealthCon to the last one that we did back in July.
Yeah, that's a great question, and thank you for having me. It's been great meeting you at the last one, and I love how involved you guys are, and you were just the best at networking. It's beautiful. So this WealthCon we have got Ed by Len, which is super exciting, right? Everyone knows Ed. And then the other one that I'm really excited about for speakers is Jen Gottlieb. And the reason that I'm super excited about her is she really helps people with their personal branding and helps people to be seen. Because the number one thing that I see out in the media when I work with clients is they're just afraid
Andres. We just met him here at the WealthCon in Las Vegas. Andres, can you tell us what markets that you invest in? What do you do right now?
Sure. So my main market is Central Florida. So we have a property management company. We fix and flip. We wholesale. I have my real estate license and mortgage license. So we have basically a couple different verticals and a different team for every vertical.
Cool. And I found out something else too. He's investing on the Big Island. Where are you investing out on the Big Island?
Right. So we actually bought 2 acres in Big Island in Mountain View specifically. And the goal with that property, it's 2 acres. We're looking to build a sustainable community there.
Awesome. Fuzzy, this is the guy that you want to talk to right here. So I know you're big on the Big Island. Second thing that I'm asking all of my interviewees is that we're from Maui. You know, the Lahaina wildfire was a huge thing for us. It's devastated the entire community. You've probably seen what's happened there. What's one of the messages that you want to give to the community that is having a hard time or struggling with, you know, getting back on their feet and moving on?
I would say GoFundMe. I would do my own GoFundMe account. If you can, I would reach out to FEMA. I would reach out to your government representatives. The government has a lot of money, and I think that, I mean, they're giving billions to Ukraine, and I believe that you guys should have at least a budget like that. And I think that if we all get together and talk to the government and either protest or in a positive way, figure out a way to talk to our representatives, I think that you guys would be able to have some money. Because I know in Florida, when we get hit with hurricanes, FEMA gives billions of dollars in aid. So I think that you guys at least deserve a couple $1,000. If not,
that's the goal here. There's a lot of Red Cross and FEMA concerns that's happening in Maui right now that they feel like they're not helping. Right? So I think my message here is to let everybody else know in the real estate investing world that there is support. There are people like you, like Ryan Pineda, who really cares, that are here to support and that spread the message. Governor Josh Green, our president, all of that. You know, it's important to the community, it's important to us to make sure that we're taking care of each other.
that's right. And then just every small grain of salt. After this, I'm gonna get with you, and I'm gonna donate to your foundation, whatever it is, because we have to do it. Every small grain counts. So go out there and donate. I'm gonna donate right